My Lord, I have made exhaustive statement on this issue.
This is cross-examination. I can't make a statement. You don't know what the question they will ask you. Answer his questions. That's all, one by one.
All right. I was at Kaduna.
And you are a party to the preparation and execution of the attempted coup of January 15th, 1966.
I was a party to the failed coup of January 1966.
Yes. Your final plan towards the coup was discussed and agreed upon during your exercise at Kachia.
There is no truth on that at all.
Okay.
I did not go to Kachia for any exercise to start with.
Very good.
I attended a battle group course at Abeokuta.
No, you have answered the question. In Kaduna, the operation or the attempted coup was led by Major Chukuma Nzegu.
Correct.
Yes. After the Premier of Northern Nigeria, late Sir Ahmad Bello, was murdered along with his wife, and the Governor of Northern Nigeria was arrested, Chukuma made a broadcast suspending the government of Northern Nigeria.
That is correct.
He also suspended the legislature of Northern Nigeria.
That is absolutely correct.
In Ibadan, one Captain Nwobosi led the operation where the Premier, Chiba Kintola, was killed.
No, that is correct.
But the government of Western Nigeria was not suspended. If you know, if you don't know, say you don't know.
It is not a question of not knowing or knowing. I know it was not
Suspended, very good.
because of
No, that's
reason.
all right. That's all right.
Exactly.
That's all right. Now, at the federal level, the President, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, was out of the country. The Prime Minister, late Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, and the Honorable Minister of Finance were murdered or were killed, and the federal government was not suspended.
At the federal level?
Yes.
Ironsi aborted the coup. So, and Ironsi took over, isn't it?
He aborted the coup.
He aborted the coup of January 66.
Yes, at the time those who organized the coup suspended the government of Northern Nigeria. The federal government was not suspended.
The coup took place on the 14th, 15th night.
Yes.
By the following day, Nzogu made a broadcast.
When did
By the following day, Ironsi had aborted the coup in Lagos.
Are you aware of the fact that Major General Ironsi announced that the power was handed over to him by the remaining members of the Council of Ministers through Dr. Orizu? Are you aware?
My Lord, Ironsi was not part of us.
I didn't say he was part of you.
Ironsi was a reactionary.
Listen to the question.
What
please.
he said or what he did was his business.
It is also the business of this commission. It is our business. If you know, please answer you know. Were you aware that Ironsi announced that the remaining members of the Council of Ministers, through Dr. Orizu,
I heard it over the radio.
very good, handed over power to him to restore
I heard it over the radio.
Thank you very much. It was because Major General Ironsi aborted the coup and declared the organizers of that coup as mutineers. That was why you people were arrested.
And detained, yes.
Yes. You were detained, but you were never tried.
You are absolutely correct.
Yes. Now, it is also correct that 4 senior commissioned and combatant military officers in Lagos, Brigadier Malari, Colonel Kur Mohammed, Lieutenant Colonel Pam, and Lieutenant Colonel Germa, were killed during that coup.
You are very correct. But let me add.
No, I don't want you
I
to
must add.
I don't want you to add, please.
But I must add.
You're answering my question.
My
please.
Lord, this is an occasion for preferring information.
You had your time.
I must add.
You had your time. This is my time, please.
I must add to clarify what you are saying.
My Lord, let him answer my question.
I must give you information. You talked about our not being...
Hold it, please. Yes. Keep it cool.
Right.
I thought we were on a fine-facting crusade.
Exactly, I must add.
So can you prevent him adding to the fact that will help us? But if it's a catechism, yes and no.
Yes, it's a straightforward question. I don't know what he wants to add, my Lord.
Well, under the rules of examination and cross-examination, you're not a witness answer your question.
And he answered my question.
The way you
I have
like.
not finished. I must add that we were not tried. But even when Gawan took over after the overthrow of Ironsi, he did not try us.
If that is all
He did not try us.
If that is all
Our leader,
Answer questions. Listen,
Yes,
he
sir.
hasn't asked another question.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what you're answering. You listen to his questions.
Now, you answered questions earlier that there was a coup in Kaduna where the political leaders were killed. There was a coup in Lagos where the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance were killed, and there was a coup in Ibadan. There was no coup in Enugu, no attempted coup in Enugu.
There was.
Listen now. There was no takeover of government or murder or assassination of anybody in Enugu and Midwest.
and this I explained in my book, Nigeria's 5 Majors.
Thank you very much. Now, you did not make any attempt to arrest Ironsi.
An attempt was made. In fact, I'm told that it was, if I may say this right now, and that it was Colonel Pang who phoned him and alerted him and he fled.
You did not make any attempt to arrest Ojukwu in Kano.
An attempt, you haven't read my book. You should have read my book.
I'm not interested in your book. I want to know.
Okay,
I want
an
the
attempt
facts.
was made to arrest him. An attempt was made to call people in Kano. And Ironsi, I'm sorry, I'm awfully sorry about talking about Ironsi. Ojukwu arrested our man. And it's my book, and you know it. You have a copy of that there.
In Kaduna, you also killed Brigadier Ademalokun and Colonel Shodende, who were the only 2 senior Yoruba officers there.
Brigadier Ademolegun was killed. There is no doubt in that.
What of Colonel Shodende?
Shodende was killed. It's all in my book. I mean, you should read it.
Thank you very much. Yes. I want to hear what you will say on oath here, not in your book.
All right.
Okay.
May it please, my Lord, I'm sorry to interrupt. There is evidence already before this commission about the coup. My learned friend has been going on about who and who was killed. Exhibit 8 is a book written by him where, pardon? In 1981, where he listed all these things he's asking him now.
Yes.
The issue here, if there are any untrue statements in the book, which is in evidence, he wants to clarify as affecting the ACF. Let him put it to him, but to continue to rehearse the evidence given before, I think.
Well, I don't want to appear as asking too many questions, but in cross-examination and examination in chief and re-examination, there's a thing called notorious facts. Is that correct?
My Lord, it depends.
Many books have been written. All these things are there.
My Lord,
We've read all of them.
He is the only surviving person who participated in the coup.
Absolutely wrong.
Was he in Kaduna?
Oath.
All right, ask.
Yes.
If there's something like notorious fact, you can address us on them. But if they're notorious, they're notorious.
My Lord,
He is wrong. I'm not the only one surviving.
Nobody asked you a question yet.
you are one of the survivors.
Go on.
Now, when you are, from the records, we saw that when you are being cross-examined by the council to the commission in Enugu, you said it was the North that waged war on Biafra.
The North, in fact, the first division from the North descended on Biafra from Nsukka.
Is that the first division of Northern Nigerian Army?
Of course, it is not first division of Northern Nigerian Army, but it was commanded by the Northern troops, Northern officers and men.
And that's your basis of saying it was the North that waged war on Biafra?
I said actually it was Nigeria that waged war, not Biafra waging war on Nigeria.
No, you said the North in your evidence.
It must be lipsus linguae.
Thank you very much. Now, you said it was in your book and in your evidence that the coup at 1966 January was long overdue.
That was what I felt. That was my opinion.
Do you still feel that a military coup is the best solution to political problems of countries such as Nigeria? Now, as you are there now on oath.
The situation in 1966 cannot by any means be equated to the situation now in Nigeria.
Now, do you agree? Now, what I'm saying is, maybe you don't understand my question.
I do understand your question. In 1966, how I felt then might not necessarily be how I feel now.
Okay. Do you still believe that military as an alternative to political government or to democratic government is the best solution?
Right now that I am an old man, I feel otherwise.
Okay. And you know that that first attempt you made was the beginning of the military incursion into democratic rule in Nigeria.
Very right. It is not the handover or button changing that you keep having after that.
Okay. Now the Ohaneze petition and your evidence said there was to be a planned jihad on January 17th. It came from your evidence.
I said it's in my book, which was published in 1981.
Listen to my question, please.
Yes, I said so.
Now, immediately after talking about the jihad, they said the coupists.
There's nothing called
Listen
coup.
now, those who planned the coup is the same thing.
They are coup plotters.
Yes, the coup plotters, it doesn't matter. The coup plotters were to install Chief Awolowo as the president.
That's what they plan to do.
Which of them? Those who planned the jihad or your own, those who planned...
You talk about planning the jihad. Those of us concerned with the coup of January 66 did not plan any jihad.
Yes.
In fact, they carried the coup, they moved fast to preempt jihad. That's what I said.
Listen,
and it's so well recorded.
No, it's no question of well recorded. You see, you planned a coup.
Beautiful.
The Ohaneze petition alleged that coup was to prevent a jihad on the 17th.
Beautiful.
The following sentence in their petition says, those coup plotters wanted to install Chief Awolowo as the president of Nigeria. Something is amiss somewhere. Is it your group that wanted to install Chief Awolowo or the jihadists? That's all I want you to clear to the commission.
The book I tendered here is very specific on it. Awolowo was to come and be the head of government.
That's your arrangement?
Our own, yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said elsewhere that failure to execute successfully the coup in Enugu was what led to the civil war.
You see, again, you haven't read my book, or you didn't even hear what I said.
Listen, I read your evidence before the commission in Enugu. Then certified true copy from the commission.
That's not what I said. Let me tell you exactly what I said.
What did you say?
You did a coup in July 1966. There were two coups in Nigeria in 1966. There was a coup. I didn't Just a minute. Let me tell you what I said.
Okay.
I said that the failure of the second coup, that is the July coup, failure of the July coup to succeed at Enugu was the one that caused the civil war. It is not the first coup.
I didn't say the first coup. I said July.
I didn't take part in July coup. You did.
Listen, you said failure of the coup in Enugu was what led to the civil war. Is that
failure of the July coup to succeed at Enugu was the one that led to the civil war.
How? If you can explain.
Beautiful. Let me explain. Because the coup failed, Ojukwu, who was the governor of Eastern region at that time, was neither killed nor arrested. Ojukwu started actually contesting the legality of Gowon's taking over power. And it is this contestation of the legality that brought about the sharp division between the East and Lagos. All right? And it is this that led to Aburi. It is this that led to the civil war. In fact, it is the one that was responsible. And in fact, I place the blame on the doorstep of those who did the coup of July 1966. That's what I said.
So those who planned the coup of July 1966 and Colonel Ojukwu were responsible for the civil war. Is that what you're saying?
You can put it out after your fashion. What I know is that had they succeeded, you see, you were blaming January coup for not taking place at Enugu. And yet you didn't blame the July coup for not succeeding at Enugu.
The difference is that the January coup failed. The July coup did not fail.
Exactly. If January coup had failed, I wouldn't be sitting here answering questions. You would have made me Major General or something.
Now, do you believe that Igbos are being marginalized?
Of course, Igbos are being marginalized.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
Wait, you have answered my question. Now, one of your witnesses said Igbos are everywhere in this country and doing everything. They are so friendly and they are involved in every trade and business in every nook and corner of this country.
Is that how you appreciate?
Answer the question.
Is that how you appraise marginalization?
Answer the question.
Every individual. Let me tell you what is wrong with this country.
Sorry, my Lord.
Every individual.
My Lord, I want you to answer my
struggles
question.
on his own. Every individual. So Igbos being everywhere shows that Igbos are the best Nigerians. They are the best Nigerians. They are everywhere. They are true Nigerians.
You should have waited for my question.
No, but I must preempt even your question. You see, Igbos, if you are talking about marginalization, it isn't in terms of Igbos individually working as individuals.
In what context is the marginalization?
Exactly. For instance, the question of appointments, the question of things that belong to us in general. In fact, even the question of depriving Igbos of their rights. This is marginalization.
Now, you said in the Ohaneze petition that Igbos are only 1 out of 400 ethnic groups in this country. You agree?
Could you please restrict yourself to the statements I made?
You are supposed to answer my questions. If you don't know, say you don't know.
Uche Chukwumereji has answered that kind of question. I am dealing with January coup, and that Ohaneze has partitioned everything. My compartment is January coup 66.
My friend, you are here as the witness of the commission, and it is my right to ask you questions, and you have an obligation to answer them. If you don't know how to answer, say you don't know.
The truth is that you said that I falsified history. I want to know where in my statement, it is in your letter. I want to know where in my statement I falsified
it is in the record of Ohaneze, and you are their witness. And you agree with me that Ohaneze are complaining of marginalization?
Of course.
Now, do you agree with what Ohaneze said?
I agree that Ohaneze is right in saying that Igbos are marginalized.
And they are also right in saying that there are over 400 ethnic groups in Nigeria.
There are too many, even more than 400 if you like.
And you also agree with what they said, that the Igbos constitute about 16% of the population of this country.
I would have said actually 25%.
Okay. Now, do you have any statistics to show that the Igbos in appointments do not have up to 25% in the federal service? Do you have any statistics?
My
If
Lord,
you don't have, say you don't have.
Let me answer it. Don't rush me. How can you have statistics when we don't have true census figures in Nigeria?
I'm not talking of...
How can you? You are talking about statistics. Let us have census figures first.
Because we don't have census figures, then we don't have statistics.
Then you are imagining
appointments in federal.
A lot of people are dreaming dreams in this country. Some people put the population of this Nigeria at 120 million. Some said 100. Some said 100. When are we going to have our figures? True figures.
Please answer my question. We're talking about appointments. You said you are being marginalized in appointments. Do you have any statistics to show that you do not have up to 25%?
Ohaneze can supply that, and I believe that Ohaneze has supplied that.
They have not supplied it.
Well, you go to Ohaneze to supply it. No. Let me go on what I know.
Now, military regimes, just like the one you wanted to bring in, come on their own. And when they rule as military regimes.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Not all the time.
If you like, I name your military regimes that used civilians to get on with rulership or governance.
Just like civilians use you in 66. There was never any military regime in this country that ruled without civilians.
Fair
that
enough.
ruled without civilians.
Good. I'm happy you are confirming it. That's what I said.
Yes, and there was never any military regime in this country that ruled without representation from across this country.
You don't, we never ruled Nigeria.
No, I'm not talking
We of January 66 never ruled Nigeria. So you are not in a position to know who should have been in the government if we actually wanted to rule Nigeria.
Okay. Now, in 1966, 60% of the officers of the Nigerian army were Igbos.
60% of the officer corps
Were
of the
Igbos.
Nigerian. That is, in fact, an estimate, yes.
Yes. And at that time, from your evidence and your book, one of the things worrying the Igbo officers was that there was the Nigerianization of the army, and some people were insisting on quota.
You know, I took advantage of Nigerianization of the army. So I could not condemn Nigerianization of the army.
No, I'm not saying you.
What we took exception from was the question of anybody in trousers becoming an officer. That's what we took exception from.
Okay. Now, when you left the army as a captain.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I didn't leave the army. I was bundled into prison.
Okay, and then from there dismissed or retired.
Up till tomorrow, we were not tried, so I don't know whether it's dismissed or retired.
And all this is because you are involved in the January 66.
Exactly.
General
And
Njuma.
as I told you, even Gawan did not try us.
Yes.
Rather, he gave one of us, our leader, he gave our leader a military burial and gave him full military honors whilst he detained us. And you could kill Ironsi for not trying us. And he left that gentleman for not trying us either.
Now, at the time you planned the coup, or you were planning the coup, you knew that if the coup failed, your career in the army is finished.
Fantastic, you are right.
Then
I knew.
Yes. Then why were you complaining that some of your mates were major generals?
You see, the trouble is that
They didn't plan a coup. They were good Nigerians. That's why they became major generals.
A lot of them became major generals because of coups.
Successful
and in fact,
coups.
they promoted themselves. You should have known that. Why are you laughing? You should have known that. They promoted themselves. That's why other countries laugh at us. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'll go ahead, Mr. Bule. Mr. Bule, now in your book, you tried to state the reasons why you people gathered to organize the coup.
You're right.
Now, thinking back now, do you still regard those reasons as valid?
Very.
Listen, for a military takeover instead of a democratic change of government. You understand the question?
The reasons were as valid then as they are valid today. The killings in the West and the killings in TV area prompted, in fact, an action from us. And there were other reasons. There were other reasons. They're all enumerated in the book I had tendered.
Now, you use the rank colonel now because you are promoted in the Biafran army.
Beautiful.
And
I prefer it.
And Ojukwu also promoted himself.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. When he comes, you'll ask him.
Now, from certain publications we read, credited to you, you were not in very good terms with Ojukwu.
I am happy you said this.
Yes.
In other words, I have my own views on every issue. I am happy you said this.
Yes.
Because I fought the war on the Biafran side. I criticized Ojukwu for taking certain measures. And I'm happy you have my book there, The Fall of Biafra. I have my own views, just as I had my own views in Nigeria when I was an army officer, and my views tallied with some views by other people.
Now, do you know that, like I said earlier, in every corner of this country there are Igbos living peacefully with other Nigerians?
Living peacefully?
Yes, with other Nigerians.
Well, there are Igbos, correct, but living peacefully, I don't know. Because they are being murdered at every turn. They are being slaughtered at every turn. Anytime there was any riot, they are slaughtered. And you should have known that too.
Are you speaking on facts or on what you read on the pages of newspapers?
Well, all I can tell you is that there's even a case here.
There are
case is still
there
here.
are Igbos across northern Nigeria.
Probably Akaloka is living happily, isn't he? Probably.
Do you know what Akaluka did? You brought the issue. Do you know what Akaluka did? Do you know the facts?
Whatever he did.
Listen, do you know the facts?
Whatever he did, he should have been subjected to the rule of law.
Listen, do you know the facts?
The rule of law should have applied.
Do you know the facts about Akaluka?
You said that I listened to the radio and I read the papers.
Look,
I read the papers.
Oh, so
all I know is that he is not alive today to even deny what he's been said to have done.
Do you know that as a result of Akaluka, 20 House of
Fulani
people were killed?
That is what you said. We have not been told this. Have you sent any delegation to Igbo land to explain the Akaluka issue? Have you sent any delegation to Igbo land?
You are not supposed to ask me questions. You have to answer my questions.
I'm sorry. I'm awfully sorry, my lord.
Okay.
All I can tell you is that you are begging the question with regard to Akaluka because he's not around. He's dead already.
Now, in your book, you warned Nzegu that because, listen now, that because of the number of Igbo officers organizing the January 66 coup, it could be misunderstood as an Igbo coup.
Number one.
Did you warn him, please?
I didn't warn Nzegu. There was no Nzegu. That's number one. Number two.
I am not an Igbo man. I may not know how to
you must
the
try and pronounce the words properly. Number two, I didn't warn Nzogu. If you read my book, I was discussing with Onwatuegu.
With whoever you are discussing, you warned. Did you warn?
Now, let me explain that.
Listen to the question first.
I have listened to the question. I leap ahead. Now,
no, listen, my friend, listen. I call you here to ask you questions.
All right. Sir.
And this is a court of law. This is not a military barrack, please. Now, what you said in the book is that people may understand that coup as an Igbo coup because over 90% of those planning the coup were Igbos. Is that correct?
That is not what I said.
What did you say?
What I said that people might take this to be an Igbo coup.
Why?
But I didn't say 90% was not there.
Why did you say so?
There was no 90%.
Why did you say people might?
I asked Onwatuegu who and who are in this. He named certain people. Although he named Ademoyega too, I felt that the Nigerian public, being tribalistic, would deem this as an Igbo coup. I said so. But that is what is called value judgment.
Okay.
In other words, not taking into consideration the facts. Now, if you read that thing down, you would have seen where he said, oh, but we are releasing Awolowo. Do you know what I said? In other words, the Yorubas are using us. You failed to read that one. You read about the thing being an Igbo coup.
I'm interested in the issue raised by Ohanaeze in your petition, that it was wrong for anybody to assume it was an Igbo coup.
It is wrong till tomorrow for anybody to assume that it's an Igbo coup. When that person would have committed what is called value judgment, a judgment not based on facts. That was what I meant.
When you killed all the northern and Yoruba political and military leaders, and you didn't kill your own?
What about Colonel Unegbe? And by the way, let me also explain. Colonel Unegbe was killed in Lagos.
Why?
Not because he did not hand over any key. I am happy that IBM Haruna, a soldier, is here. He knows that no quartermaster general holds a key to anything armory.
Why was he killed?
He knows he was killed. It's in my book, which I tendered. He was killed because he was accused of making money from his job. In other words, he was a quartermaster general. He was making money from his job. So he was enriching himself. So that was why he was killed.
So he was not.
So I want to correct this mistake.
So he was not a victim of that attempted coup.
He was killed.
No, listen. Brigadier Mamalari, Kur Muhammad and the rest were killed as part of the coup. This one was killed because he was making money. So he was not killed as part of the execution of that coup. Is that what you're saying?
My Lord, there were various reasons why the coup took place.
Okay.
There were various, in fact, Hydra-headed reasons why the coup took place. Some people enriched themselves and they were killed. Some people were involved in the killings in the West and the TV area, and they were killed. Some people did a lot of other unsavory things. By the way, they talk about killing, and I'm repeating what I said at Enugu. It was never decided that anybody should be killed.
Now, why was
people disagreed on what should happen? I don't know how many coups you've taken part in, but it is never decided this man must be killed, that person will be killed, but you depend on what you see on the ground.
So if there was opportunity to kill, you kill. What do you mean by you depend on what you see on the ground?
These are soldiers, you know. Depending, for instance, if you are fired at, you fire back. All right? It's as simple as that. And I gave an example of somebody who wasn't killed. He was.
Do you know why Sardona was killed along with his wife?
Do you know it's in the book?
Simple.
Why must I
I told you we need your evidence here.
But the commission here has read my book. If they have not read my book, they probably are reading it now.
Nigerians want to hear what you will say of the reason behind killing Sardona and his wife.
You talk about killing again. I was not in Zogu who went to the house. Even though, I must tell you this, I take full responsibility for the coup of January 66 because it was a collective responsibility.
Very good. Okay, are you aware of the reason from your coup plotters why Sardona was murdered with his wife?
If you don't know the reason by now, then I'm afraid you should go and find out.
My Lord,
it's all in my book.
My Lord, the witness should be told that he's supposed to answer my question.
You are whipping up emotions. I don't want to get involved in that.
Answer a simple question simply. It will make us progress. And then when counsel is asking, you have no right to retort.
All right, sir.
Thank you, my Lord.
Sorry, my Lord.
Now, you said there were always reasons why they kill. Why was, if you know, Sardona killed along with his wife?
Zogu attacked Sardona's residence. Zogu, if you read the script, was attacked himself.
And that was why they had to kill him.
Zogu returned fire. Zogu, if he were alive but he's dead, would have told you exactly why he did what he did. What we wanted to do was to overthrow the government of Nigeria. To overthrow the government and stop madness.
And overthrowing the government means suspending the government of northern Nigeria, leaving the government of western Nigeria,
you see,
and then deliberately refusing to arrest Ironsi.
Let me elucidate this matter. It is true that Akintola was killed in the West. And then Fani Kayode was arrested and taken to Lagos. That is the RV, rendezvous. Now, when the soldiers got to Lagos, they found that Ironsi's troops had already seized Lagos. And so they ran helter-skelter. And as you well know, some people ran to Ghana, some ran to other places. And therefore, there was no time to declare anything in the West. You should have known that.
And there was no time to arrest or kill Okpara in the East.
Again, we talked about Okpara having been receiving somebody from abroad, a head of state from Cyprus. Macarius, Archbishop Macarius.
You gave that
and he was arrested as soon as, and by the way, one of you was the one who took over the radio station. Even though he's dead again and he can't say his own mind. Now
listen,
it was Jallo who took over the station.
Listen, my friend, we're not here for stories.
What I'm trying to tell you is
restrict yourself to my answers to my questions, please. Now, you gave consideration to the fact that Okpara was expecting a guest.
Not expecting, he had a guest.
Yes, he had a guest.
As soon
listen
as he
now,
to the
listen.
Airport, he was arrested.
Listen to the question. Now, in some of the books written by some of your coup plotters, you had to wait for Sir Ahmad Bello to return from Lesser Hajj to execute the coup.
I wrote that in my book.
Yes, why did you do that?
And
if the intention was not to deliberately kill him.
It is the truth. If you did not wait for him to return, he might bring in troops from abroad, particularly from Saudi Arabia or from any of the Islamic countries.
Why didn't you wait for Dr. Azikiwe to come back?
I haven't even thought about Azikiwe because, you see, he was so innocuous that, in fact, as far as we were concerned, he was not endangering anybody.
He was not because he is Igbo?
No, not at all.
Why?
There were others who were not Igbos, who were not endangering anyone. What about Awolowo? Was he killed?
Now listen, recently, you know Chief Ajuluchukwu?
I know Chief Ajuluchukwu, he's my brother.
Yes.
Yes.
He recently gave an interview.
Yes.
And he said Dr. Azikiwe was aware of the coup, and that was why he left the country. Are you aware of that? Simple.
Say that again, please.
That Dr. Azikiwe was aware of the planned coup, and that was why he ran out of the country.
If Ajuluchukwu said that,
it's not the issue. Whether you two are aware, that's the question.
No. You don't put words into anybody's mouth. If Ajuluchukwu said that, he is entitled to his own views altogether.
I want to hear your own view. I want to hear your own view.
But I will be surprised, in fact, shocked if Ajuluchukwu ever said that.
He did.
All the same, I said I will be shocked because you people are prone to, putting words into people's mouths. Now, the thing is this. With regard to Zik knowing or not knowing, we were anti-Zik. If you recall that Nzogo talked to Sakashim Ibrahim, he said these people like Azik, we were and Okbara and others we were looking for. If you recall, and it's written down in black and white in your own books.
That is not the question. The question is simple. Are you aware that Zik knew about the coup, and that was why
How could I know that Zik knew about the coup? I was at Kaduna.
I
was resident at Kaduna.
How did you know that they killed Tafawa Balewa in Lagos?
Say again.
How did you know they killed and they could not arrest Iran?
From the radio.
Why didn't you hear this from the radio? You were part and parcel of the coup plotters. You know all those who sponsored you, and you know those you dealt with.
My lord, no coup plotter. My lord, no coup plotter is ubiquitous. He is not everywhere.
You were aware that during the period you were planning the coup, there was Commonwealth Conference holding on in Lagos.
Of course, I know. And even when it came to a close.
And yet you killed Tafawa Balewa, you killed Brigadier Maimalari.
He wasn't killed on the day of the Commonwealth Conference.
You waited for them to go first.
They were not killed on the day of the Commonwealth Conference. Okay. Let me put this to you, that Okpara would have been killed.
Listen, you have no right to put anything to me, please.
It will take another 4 years before you start putting it to him.
Yes.
You got to go
My
to
lord, I should have read law. All right, let me expatiate.
I don't want to hear it. You are aware that Brigadier Maimalari was killed on his party's wedding day, the day he was organizing a party for his wedding.
I heard he was killed and I wept.
Very good.
Because this is where I said everybody didn't agree about killing anybody. Okay. They had disagreements. So people were allowed to use their initiative. What you see on the ground is what matters. I wept because he was my mentor. He was captain when I was an officer cadet.
Now, were you told why Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was killed, was murdered, and his body thrown in the bush?
I was even told that he wasn't killed. I don't know. What about you are talking about killing?
Yes, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, you were told he was...
I know that when some people went to Abeokuta to get armored vehicle, and they couldn't, they came back and found Ironsi's troops all over the place and ran away. Those who had the prime minister, I'm told, dumped him in a bush. How they dumped him in a bush, I wasn't told.
No, as one of the coup plotters, did you hear the reason why he was killed?
If you read my book, you see it was zoned. I was in the north. I was at Kaduna.
Please answer my question. Did you hear why he was killed?
I wasn't told.
Was there any justification given for killing him or for murdering him?
Are you saying by hindsight or then?
By the coup plotters.
Well, you see, people were being killed everywhere, particularly in the West. And so, if I may sound charitable, well, not uncharitable, if he was party to other killings, then if he was killed, it's one of those things.
Now, since you are based in the north,
yes,
you must have heard that immediately after Sardana was killed, or maybe a few weeks after, there was this picture being circulated in markets and streets of Nzegu and Samad Bello, which some northerners regarded as very provocative.
I am happy you mentioned this.
Yes.
I was thrown into Kirikiri. Taken down.
When?
From in fact, within the first week of the coup, I was thrown into Kirikiri with others. Now, I am given to understand much later that it was because Nelson Atta Publishing Drum did something in respect of publicizing Sir Ahmad Bello. All right? No sane person would like that.
Thank you very much.
But why is it that the same Nelson Atta, during the war, you took him to work for you? You didn't kill him, but you killed the women in the marketplace. Why did you do that?
My friend, listen. I'm happy that you agreed that when Nelson Atta published it, people naturally overreacted.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
But
that's all for him.
Why did you not kill Nelson Atta?
That's all right from me. Thank you.
Why did you not kill Nelson Atta?
Yes, witness.